Had to decide where I wanted to aim this camera. That looks about right. Something like that ought to work. All right. Well, we'll hang out for a few minutes waiting for you guys to show up. I'm gonna go in here. Well, actually, you know, we'll do this together. I'm gonna wait. So, see how this goes. Okay, I see some guys are showing up. If you guys want to say hi, I appreciate it. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm using earbuds today, which makes my life a little bit easier, and it generally creates a little bit better experience for you guys. At least that's what I've been told. I know you guys can't see, but I've got my laptop right over here, and so I can answer questions and stuff. So, Moto Motion Canada says hi. So, Lopez. By the way, Guy, I see that you're building a new like pole barn. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty solid. I saw that on Facebook. DJ says hi. Okay. All right. So before we get started, I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover operating this new screen set on this machine. Before we get started, I've been getting a lot of questions about this machine lately. Ever since we started making videos, you guys, I've said it before. I'm gonna keep saying it. Syil Machine Tools stepped up, and they help support basically me making content. It doesn't have an agenda. It's just me making content. It takes time, energy, money to film this, record this, set this up, and I'm thankful that they allowed me to do it. If you guys, over the course of time, if you guys have questions, I'll answer them about this machine. Before you buy any machine, I think that you should do some research, talk to a few different owners, not just one. Don't ever just trust just one source, not even me, even though I'm doing my very best to tell you guys my true opinion. The last thing I want is to see anybody get, buy something and be unhappy or anything like that. That's just, I'm not commissioned. It doesn't matter to me which machine you own or don't own. I just think it's pretty amazing that we're able to share all this knowledge here on YouTube. The business that I have that you can't see that's behind this camera, in large part was created by all of the other people out here in the world of YouTube that have been so kind and generous to share their information over time. And so without YouTube, I can honestly say I don't know that I would have the business that I have today. So with that said, let's talk about this control. So this obviously is my Syil X7, Syil, whatever, call it whatever you want. This is an X7, and I'm absolutely there's like giggle factor that they call this a hobby machine. I'm glad that they do. It's better to over deliver, while under promising than to over promise and under deliver. And I feel like if you're going to call this sucker a hobby machine, you're definitely under promising and over delivering. So anyways, there's a lot of different controls that are available. And you can buy Fanuc controls, Siemens controls, and at the end of the day, this seems to be one of the most popular controls. This is the Syntec 22MA, and it's got Syl's own screen set on here. When I first got this machine, it was a little bit tricky to run, and there were just a lot of button presses compared to other machines like in this price range or category, things like Haas and Tormach and things like that. And so the guys at Syntec right here in California, they came up here, they spent some time, and they built a new screen set for this machine, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So before I get going, I just want to make sure there's nothing crazy going on over here in the chat. Okay, doesn't look that way. Okay, so a couple of things. In full disclosure, I've got this door bypass so that you guys can see what's going on. Normally speaking, this, like right now, the door would lock. To unlock the door, F4 locks and unlocks the door. That's pretty important. So many guys I see in the Facebook group for Syil buy this exact machine, and to be completely honest with you, this machine, I think you get a lot of bang for your buck, like mechanically, but the documentation and support isn't as good as maybe other companies. And so F4 locks, unlocks the door. You see I've got a USB drive in here. In order to delete programs that are in the machine, it cannot be active. So I thought we'd go into there and we'd load a program off the USB. So we'll just pretend there's no USB in there. Let's have a quick vote, you guys. Would you rather me bring the camera closer to the screen so that you can see just the screen? Or do you want to just leave it like this so that you guys can see the buttons too? You guys just vote real quick. Just say screen or buttons. Okay. All right. Well, buttons. Oh, come on, come on. Buttons, buttons, both. Yeah, okay, that's right. We're just going to leave it at buttons. So we're going to leave it like this. I have a feeling that as this screen set, we're not exactly sure if this is completely final. It could be, but maybe not. So I'm going to leave it like this. And if we have to remake this video, then we'll just make another video on another day. All right. So you have in the Syntec manual, they call these I believe they call them your 10+8 keys, but obviously there's more than 10. You have information, NC, work and tool offsets, your monitor button, which is the same as this blue button down here, maintenance screen, manufacturing, and then there's all kinds of stuff down here that you can get into, and then your settings. And this is bits and stuff like that. And you guys probably won't be able to see this. In fact, I probably won't be able to see it. I'm not going to pull this, but when you fire things like the tool setter, you can actually register it right here. In fact, I honestly feel like there's almost too much access in this control. But needless to say, if you really know what you're doing, and I've met a few people that are like electrical engineers, the sky's the limit in here. You can actually get into the actual ladder logic in the control, which I would never dare do. All right, so let's get back here. So we're going to delete some programs off the machine. We'll talk about selecting and running a program, and then we'll load a program from here. So for now, when you're in the information or the NC, you always have access to the file manager. So you just hit file manager, and you can see right here, I know this isn't close, but I'm just going to read these to you, and you can just take my word that they're here. Program number 1001, 1002, 1004, 1007. 1007 has a little green like asterisk next to it, and that tells me that it's active. And so if you try to delete this active file, delete file, you hit select, delete file, it just says no go, can't do it, it's in use. So we hit OK, hit enter. What I always do when I want to clear out all these programs is I just arrow down to my spindle warm up. Well, first of all, I'll go back here. I hit enter, well, I hit it twice, execute, and then right here, this button, this top left blue button, and this third from the right column, I hit auto. And now that instantly, that's how you actually load a program. So we're good to go. I gotta lock the door. So we're not gonna leave that going. But now we can go back into our file manager. We can hit select. Let's see, hit delete file, and we can select all these. So select, 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 and we can hit delete, and they're all gone. Just that simple. Now we'll use the USB drive, and we'll put a program on there real quick. So this goes in here. We're going to go all the way back from where we originally started. Just so that you guys, you don't have to, but I think it's the easiest way to teach. So we'll go back here. We'll go to File Manager, File Transfer, File Import. I mean, this is like, it's pretty intuitive. And now you can see here's your USB drive, and here's the machine itself. You can see here. So we just scroll down here, and we hit select, copy. When we hit exit, it takes us out to our original screen. If we just go up to there, hit enter, execute, again, auto here, and it's go. It would go right now. I mean, right now, if we let it go, this is actually a live program that I just ran, and it would actually just go and cut the part. I actually got the part over here. I'll show you what it's actually going to cut. We're not going to let it get too far this time. It was actually taken off to just finish cutting this. This is just a clamp that actually gets bolted down to the bottom of a mold base. But it's pretty straightforward. All in all, compared to the original screen set that was in here, this is actually a much faster workflow. They actually made some of these buttons that are kind of like shortcuts. Understand that these buttons obviously control these tabs. This is not touchscreen. These buttons control these tabs. I'm going to have to bring you guys in a little bit closer because I want to show you the new tool setter buttons, okay? The screen set, because this is stuff that is not out in the wild just yet. There's only a couple people that have this. I'm going to check the comments real quick. Someone said I have big hands. Believe it or not, actually, for a relatively short guy, I do have pretty big hands. Okay. All right. See if I can get this a little bit. Just come up a little bit more. It will. That's a win. Okay. This is taking longer than I thought it would. We're already 10 minutes in. Okay, here's what I wanted to show you guys. This is what I think is pretty cool. So you hit work offset. These buttons here are awesome. The guys over at Syntec put these in, and rather than having to go through things like here in the monitor, there's an MDI. You got to hit MDI down here, an MDI up here, and you used to have to go in here and clear this out and hit, like, I don't know, let's just say T7, M6. You'd have to do that, and then you'd have to hit more buttons and cycle start to get going. Now, if you want to change the tool, you can hit this work offset button, hit tool change, key in the tool you want, 7, enter, execute, and it's off to the races. You guys can see that it's going to do its thing. There's no tool in tool 7. But why don't we do this? Why don't I back this out a little bit, and we'll put a tool in there so that you guys can see this whole thing operate. So we'll put this in. This is a tool that I use for making this is actually for a slot in a bunch of molds that I make. So we'll hit MPG, which is manual pulse generator, because you have to touch that to fire the drawbar. So we'll put that in there. We're going to get a rough measurement on this. So we'll just call it, I don't know, 4.25 inches. Now we get to use the tool setter screen. So we hit tool setter. We're not going to calibrate it. This is a center cutting tool. It's tool 7. We only want the length. 4.5 is close enough. We do not want to spin the spindle. And now we hit execute. Okay. Yeah, you guys can see right here, this is going to tell us how long it is right here. So it's going to do 2 fast touches and 1 really slow touch, and then it's going to give us our distance, right, our length, tool length right here. Remember, we had it roughly estimated at 4.5. It's 4.3823. And for the most part, I had one of these tool setters that we ended up having an issue with, but they replaced it real quickly, so I was pretty pumped about that. For the most part, I have found that it's actually quite consistent. Running it over and over, a lot of times it repeats within a tenth or two. If there's a chip or something on there, it can give you issues. But so this screen set is just super useful. There's one other kind of, so you can obviously do non-center cutting, which is a little bit different. So it'll stand everything off and you can choose a direction. You can run a calibration. So if you have a calibration tool like this one from Mara Tool, you can run the calibration, and that basically records the location of the tool setter in the machine. Last little trick, this control has one little quirk that a lot of people don't understand, and I want to explain it to you real quick, and then we're going to kill this live stream. But when you set your X, Y, and Z using a Hymer, so let's just say that we jog the machine to location and we hit workpiece coordinate, apply machine X, apply machine coordinate Y. Now let's just say we apply machine coordinate Z and we hit enter. What's happening is the machine is actually recording the location of the, I'm going to say spindle nose, but really it's the gauge line, okay? You actually have to offset the length. That's why I have this on here. You have to offset the length of the Hymer gauge. And the guys at Syntec added this little button. So no matter what tool you're using, if you've already measured your tools and you know the lengths of your tools, you can hit apply machine coordinate. You know, let's jog this down just a little bit, just so it doesn't have a 0. Apply machine coordinate, and then you can hit gauge increment. And what this does is, if you've got any tool you've got in the spindle, if you have it on location, meaning if it's actually touching your piece of paper or your Hymer is zeroed out, you hit apply increment, and it adds that automatically, and now you're ready to cut. So if that last part was a little bit confusing, I don't blame you. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in the future as we make more content. But I have got a lot of questions about this Syntec control, specifically because I think this is the one that's the easiest to get right now, or maybe it's the most common. I did some research. There's a company called Freedom CNC here in California who sells large, like full-size vertical mills with the Syntec control system on it. And so I don't want to give you guys the specs, because I don't know them all, but I think it's like 3,000 blocks to look ahead. This control also has something called G120, which is HPCC. It's high precision contour control. I think I've used it because it's in the post. And I think it's something kind of like a Haas G187, like a smoothing tolerance. All in all, it's been pretty reliable. And I like the big screen. I like the fact that Syntec has created these new screen sets. And yeah, I wanted to take a few minutes because a lot of people ask about this. I think a lot of guys that start off with Mach 3 or Shapeokos or smaller machines, they're a little intimidated by some of these industrial style controllers. And this is basically like a Fanuc clone or Fanuc competitor style control. A lot of the workflow is very similar. And I think it's pretty neat at the end of the day that they were able to just, I don't know, smooth that out. So I don't want to keep this going too long, but if you guys have questions or anything in the comments, I'll do my very best to answer them right now. And so just let me take a look. Nick, the X7, you can outfit these a variety of different ways. This one, as it sits the way you see it, with the umbrella tool changer, 10,000 RPM spindle, and tool setter, I think is right around the 32-ish mark. You'd have to call. You can call. I guess I never did this before. I don't have the phone number or anything to give you guys, but you can just like Google Syil machine tool. They're out of Houston. They'll tell you everything you want to know. Someone says, off topic, what EDM oil do I use? I get it from North South Machinery here in California, and it's you know what? I think it's one of their synthetic blends. I can't remember the name of it, to be honest with you. But I get it from North South Machinery. And my sales guy's name is Jim Nagel. And when we bought the machine, he made a deal. And it smells nice. It's clear. I've never had any issues. So if you're interested in that stuff, give Jim a buzz. Okay. All right, you guys. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me for a few minutes. I hope I answered some questions. A lot of people ask about the control. At the end of the day, any machine, I don't care if you have a Haas or a Tormach or a Mach 3 converted Grizzly or a Fadal or anything, all of the fundamental controls of the machine, setting the work offsets, setting the tool offsets, the theories are almost always the same. The button presses just take time to learn, and it's nothing more than muscle memory once you've taken some time to learn it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this helped you out. If you guys need anything, you have questions, as always, shoot me a comment right here, or guys can always fire me off an email if you guys follow me on Patreon, and I'll do my very best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys a little bit later. Bye-bye.